Sage Wanderer here, and welcome to Coffee Talk! Man, I feel good today. This is the first day I felt really good since the COVID thing. One thing I can tell you is that COVID and the flu are not the same, because when you get over the flu, you're over it. When you get over COVID, it comes back and you get it again, and you get over it and you get it again. And I've been sick off and on again all this week. This has been one of the toughest 3 weeks of illness that I've had. It was a tough spring. Kind of started with little Jazzy almost dying and having to go to the hospital, and then we all brought COVID back from the hospital is what happened, from the emergency room, and it ravaged the whole family. But I was the last one to finally get 100% free of it. I feel awesome this morning for the first time, I think, for a long time. So today we're going to talk about some seemingly unrelated things. We're going to talk about P. Diddy and the headlines there. We'll explain more about that. Then we're going to talk about deep fakes, and we're going to talk about the 2-minute video. So get your cup of coffee and settle in for Coffee Talk. Okay, so many of you are not hip. Most of you are probably not hip hop fans. You're not privy to the rap world, but maybe some of you have read or seen online videos about a thing called the Black Illuminati. I've talked about this several years ago, and this involves the biggest names in hip-hop being the black representation of the Illuminati in the music business. And sitting at the top of this pile is P. Diddy, Jay-Z, and Beyonce. And there has been lots of accusations against people like Will Smith, people like P. Diddy, obviously Jay-Z and Beyonce, being part of this Illuminati wing in black entertainment that engages in all kinds of sexual depravity, and most recently an accusation of sex trafficking and blackmail has been made against P. Diddy. P. Diddy, Sean Combs, has been in the music business for probably 30 years. And he sits at the top of a cabal that controls rap music and hip-hop music. And you basically don't make it into the business, or so people are saying, without the blessing of P. Diddy or Jay-Z and Beyonce, or all three of them. And recently, this was always considered kind of a conspiracy theory, something for Coffee Talk. There was never any proof of any of this stuff. But several ex-girlfriends of P. Diddy, ex-bodyguards of P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, whatever you want to call him, Sean Combs, have come forward and given some ugly details. Cat Williams, a famous comedian, has spilled the beans concerning this cabal of black entertainers. And like I said, sitting at the top of this is P. Diddy and Jay-Z and Beyonce. And now they don't just control rap music. They seem to also have a lot of influence in black comedy. So this is where Cat Williams, the black comedian, came in. And Cat Williams and I have something in common. We both told the powers that be no. And the difference is, when I saw the door slammed in my face, I just left the business and went out to do my own thing. And part of that was becoming a preacher. Part of that was, being a bar musician for many years, not trying to get a record deal, just entertaining people live. And this is what Cat Williams did. That Cat Williams didn't get the big breaks that these other artists get because he wouldn't play ball. And to quote him in a recent interview, he says, P. Diddy likes to party. And he said, and so I'm trying to protect that virgin hole he's talking about, he says. And so you just got to tell P. Diddy no. The accusations are drug-fueled orgies, mainly men on men, the use of underage boys, and the abuse of underage boys. And this goes back to the very beginning of P. Diddy's career. The famous R&B singer Usher was 15 years old when he moved in with P. Diddy. And Usher has been very tight-lipped about what occurred while he lived with them. But Justin Bieber was not. Justin Bieber was taken in at the age of 15. And in a recent confession online, Justin Bieber's confession alone should have prompted some kind of investigation, where he talks in detail about being trafficked by Diddy while he was still a teenager, still a minor, and that he was used and abused as a minor in the music business, and a lot of it was done through P. Diddy. But this was mainly has been dismissed as rumor, innuendo. Nobody's done anything about it. Nothing has ever happened to any of these people as far as them seeing justice in any way. And but that all changed recently when an ex-girlfriend of P. Diddy filed a massive civil lawsuit against him. And in her depositions and testimony, she made many accusations, including sex trafficking against P. Diddy. Now, what is sex trafficking? A lot of us think of Sound of Freedom when we think of sex trafficking. But sex trafficking can be as simple as having some kind of financial or physical control over an individual and telling them, you go and do a sex act with this person or else. Right? That is officially sex trafficking, even if no money is exchanged. And so this is what she's accused him of, is what in the hip-hop world they call pimping her out. He pimped her out. And so also in these accusations is the revelation that P. Diddy's house, where he has these drug-fueled orgies, where that involve many, many famous people, who I will list some of the people that this is splashing back onto. But that the whole house was wired with cameras and audio, and that he has this vast library of blackmail material. Images of people not just engaged in depravity of every sort, but engaged in sexual activity with minors, boys under the age of 18. And so these accusations started to pile up. Then this lawsuit happened. Then these statements were made under oath. And then the Department of Homeland Security got issued a warrant by a judge, and they swatted both of P. Diddy's homes, one in Miami and the other in L.A. And it appears right now that P. Diddy, this massive billionaire star, is now on the run. From the most recent information I could glean, he left in his private jet, and his private jet turned off its transponder in Antigua. So we don't know where in the world P. Diddy is. And so, but these, presumably they might have gotten their hands on some of these tapes and some of these recordings, that he was diligent in having a real treasure trove and personal trophy of all of his exploits on video, and that they existed in one or both of these places. Now, some of his former bodyguards have come out and said they need to look elsewhere, that he had them stashed at various different places. So there could be follow-up searches of storage units and warehouses and other properties owned by Diddy. Nonetheless, Diddy's lawyers are making statements that he's not guilty of any of this. This is all made up, and he's going to prove his innocence, yet he's not come forward himself, and he appears to be missing somewhere in the world. And the list of people who are potentially on these videos is a treasure trove of information here. It's a real mess, right? And I'm going to drop some names here, and some of them are going to shock you. Ashton Kutcher, who's very close friends with P. Diddy. Also interesting, Danny Masterson, the former co-star of That 70s Show with Ashton Kutcher, is also right now in prison for rape. He's in prison for sexual assault and will stay there. And there was a lot of shade thrown at Ashton Kutcher for making a public defense of Danny Masterson during the court proceedings, especially at the sentencing stage, basically calling him a good person. And some of the names involved in these P. Diddy freak-offs, they call them, these big drug-fueled parties, include people like Tyler Perry. They include people, obviously, like Kevin Hart. I'm not saying these people participated in it. They were at the parties. They were there in a place where they knew this was going on. And one of the big bombshell names to come out of this is Bishop T.D. Jakes. That Bishop T.D. Jakes attended these parties. We don't know if he engaged in any of the activities or not. He doesn't deny that he attended some of these big Hollywood parties with P. Diddy and all of these list of stars. And but you know, he denies any wrongdoing, but I really think in a lot of ways just the inference, just him being there where this stuff was known to be going on, is probably very much deep-sixed his career as a pastor. And I have to tell you that I was a big fan of T.D. Jakes at the beginning. There was a failed megachurch that was in South Dallas, and I think it's Eagle Mountain Lake. I'm not sure what I can't remember the lake there, but it's in the hills south of Dallas, and it was called the Eagle's Nest, and they went under, and this big compound came up for sale, and T.D. Jakes bought it and moved in. And at that stage, we're talking in the early 1990s, I thought T.D. Jakes was a good man. I was very close there. I knew people that went to his church. I actually recorded an album. I produced an album for one of his youth ministers in that church, a Christian hip-hop record. And I did that in the early 90s. No, the mid-90s. Late 90s. Yeah, the late 90s. And I had nothing but good things to say about T.D. Jakes. He opened a home for unwed mothers, a food bank, an orphanage. He was doing all of the community things that you expect a good pastor to do. Very different from a lot of these other TV preachers who just pile money up in big stacks and buy jets and whatnot. T.D. Jakes was putting some of that money to work for the community. And I had nothing but good things to say about him. But, you know, he lost a bunch of weight. And he wrote a very best-selling diet book. And I believe he was on Oprah's show talking about his diet book. And at that point, I started to see money really, truly corrupting him. And you started to see that success brought him into the mainstream. You know, once again, these people a lot of times are brought in. Justin Bieber was brought in by Oprah into this. You know, he was discovered on YouTube. T.D. Jakes was brought in by Oprah into these circles of the Illuminati. And at some point there, I believe T.D. Jakes lost his way. I felt it in my spirit. And he should not have been at these big parties. And yet there he was. Now, is he going to appear on any of these videos? We don't know. Now, if you're a big fan of the channel, you know about 6 years ago, I had a dream that I was unsure whether it was prophetic or not. I was back and forth whether this was a prophetic dream or a bean dream. But I will recount the basics of the dream about the 2-minute video. You can find this on my channel, several references to the 2-minute video. In my dream, there was a 2-minute video released, which was a edited down version of a much longer video. This video involved a very famous politician and another person engaged in sexual activity with someone who appeared to be too young. And this video was released, and it is in my dream, and it caused such an uproar. And one side of the political spectrum said it's a deep fake. Now, 6 years ago, when I had that dream, the concept of a deep fake video was kind of almost science fiction. That deep fake videos were just starting to become available. There was one where, you know, they made Barack Obama say a bunch of things he didn't say, just as a way to show off this technology, and it was still very brand new. And now we've come to the point where deep fake videos are very possible, and they're almost indiscernible from reality. And so in my dream, one side said that's not our person doing that. And in the dream, I never saw who it was. I never heard the name of who it was. A prominent politician was called onto the carpet for this video. And half of the country said the video was faked, and the other half of the country said the video was real. And the argument back and forth whether this video was real or not was so strong, it causes so much vitriol, so much anger in the population, that it was kind of the trigger that caused people to become violent and caused a civil war to break out. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back. We wouldn't have a civil war over a politician and a corrupt video necessarily, unless there was already a bunch of stuff at play, a bunch of things at play, and it was essentially the straw that broke the camel's back. It was the tipping point, was the release of this 2-minute video. In the same dream, there was another a 4-minute video that was released of a politician accepting a bribe, a suitcase full of money on a tarmac, and that was also released. And so, since I had those dreams, prophetic or not, there's been a lot of speculation as to where a 2-minute video like this might come from. And of course, people back then thought the Podesta emails, they thought the Hillary Clinton hard drive, and then it was maybe the Hunter laptop. And I would put out there that possibly this 2-minute video might come from P. Diddy's collection of blackmail material. Another, speculation was it might come from some of this information found in Jeffrey Epstein's stash of stuff. But I don't know whether that was a prophetic dream or a bean dream. I do know this. It seemed far-fetched back then because deep fake videos weren't that believable. But nowadays, the technology has advanced. Let me draw your attention to a television show I'm sure you've never heard of. It's called Deep Fake Love. Now, I had to sit through some stuff to watch this series, which I believe is available on Netflix. It's set in Brazil. It's a Brazilian television show, and it's a what they call a reality TV show. And it's kind of dark and twisted, to tell you the truth. The whole premise is. But they took 5 couples who were committed couples. Some of them had been together for many years, 3, 5, 7, 9 years. And they were all on the verge of actually getting married or making a real commitment. And they came on this show to make sure they were making the right decision. So the premise of the show is that they take the 10 couples and they split them up into 2 groups. They split the couples up from each other. And they place them in a mansion, one over here and one over there, with 10 very attractive single people. The attractive single people are there with the intention of trying to break them up, and they videotape the entire process. Everything is on video. The whole house is wired for video. Then, after the first few days, they take the couples, the individuals, and they set them down, and they show them a video of what their spouse, their potential spouse, has been up to, what they've been doing in the other house. And this video, unknown to the person watching it, is absolutely a fake video. They've used this technology to recreate scenes that never happened, to create scenes that never happened, to show their spouse kissing, to show their spouse actually in bed with somebody else, to show their spouse carrying on in a way that they never thought their spouse would act. And they show them these deep fake videos. And they don't tell them that there's even a potential of a deep fake video. They just tell them this is what they've been doing, right? And it causes this great emotional distress. Some of these people, of course, it's all in Portuguese. I did realize that I could probably read Portuguese. Portuguese and Latin are very close. Probably the closest language to Latin is Portuguese. And I know a little Latin, but that I got confirmation. That's just a side note that I could probably find my way around in Brazil. I know enough Portuguese, but it was overdubbed, so you could get it in English, but you could still hear the Portuguese. So it was like it's hard. It was kind of hard to watch because of that. They didn't take the Portuguese out. They just layered the English in kind of on top of the Portuguese, but it did show you the languages. But at any rate, that's a side point. But these people had great emotional breakdowns. They're like, I can't believe my spouse is doing this. And the emotional experience for them was them seeing their spouse cheating on them, right? Seeing their mate cheating on them. And they didn't tell them that it was completely deep faked until after they showed it to them. Then they said, okay, everything you saw may or may not have happened. It may or may not be an actual real video. It might be a deep fake. We have this technology, and some of the videos you saw were probably deep fake, and some of them were not. And it's up for you to decide. So we're going to bring you back in a few days. And I think this experiment went on for a month or better, a couple months, where they had these people separated. And every few days they would show them videos, and they didn't know whether they were fake or not. And they were supposed to slap a real or fake button and say, I think that's fake, or I think that's real. And so they were believing real videos were fake, and they were believing that fake videos were real, and voting on it. And whatever couple got it right the most would win 100,000 euros. And so this went on, and I began to understand that these deep fake videos are so believable, they're so realistic, they're so perfect and spot on that the spouses, people that live with these people, couldn't even tell they were looking at a fake video. They could not tell whether the video was real or fake, and they know these people intimately, and they couldn't tell if that was their spouse or a deep fake copy of their spouse. And so I watched this not for the entertainment of it. I watched it because I'm interested in deepfake technology. This ability to take a video of me and have me telling you stuff that I never said, right? They could make videos of you doing things you never did, and it looks so real your own mama couldn't tell the difference. Don't. Which of course made me think of the 2-minute video. How back then it seemed unlikely that someone could make a video that was so believable that it would fool the public. Now the technology is so advanced that it's so believable that your own mate might believe it. Your own family might believe it. People that know you intimately might think they're looking at a real video. The technology is horrifying. The technology, from here on out, mark my words, from here on out, you cannot believe anything you see on video. Just because it's on video doesn't mean it's real. It could very well be a deep fake, and there's no way you can tell the difference no matter how smart you think you are. I watched it. I looked at it intricately, and I could not tell the difference. And they were actually showing us, the viewer, what was really going on, and then showing the deep fake, and even then I'm like, whoa, I know that didn't happen because they were in the pool, but they didn't do that, right? They were just in the pool. But other times I would think that didn't happen, and then they would show the real video where no, it actually did happen. It's a mind bender. Deep fake videos are terrifying. So we could have videos that come out from P. Diddy. They could come out from Epstein. They could come from Hunter's laptop, any source, any future source. And you might think they're real, and they might be, or they might be deep fakes. Would you believe it if they showed a deep fake of Donald Trump doing something he didn't do? Would you believe that? Could they do that? Convince you, even a Trump supporter, to turn your back on him because it's on video? One of the most stunning things about that deep fake love television show was that even when they were told, this is a deep fake video, your spouse didn't cheat on you, they were actually true to you, and the thing you saw wasn't real, it scarred them, and they couldn't forgive their spouse for the thing they didn't do. They didn't do it, but they saw it. So in their mind, they couldn't let go of what they saw. The thing about this television show is that 3 of the 5 couples broke up over this. Now, some of them did things. Others broke up that didn't do anything, but their spouse couldn't believe. And they couldn't believe that what they saw wasn't real. Even with the producers telling them, it's not real. He didn't, or she didn't do this. But the damage was done, right? That seeing video in this modern world, we're so used to watching real video, news video, movies, documentaries and things, that once we see it with our eyes, even once we're told it didn't happen, it doesn't change the opinion. It changes your opinion of this person, even though what they did never happened, even though what they did was completely fiction and made up. It still changes your opinion of the person. What a powerful political tool going into this future that's filled with uncertainty and political strife. That these deep fake videos, they've got to start being released, right? They've got to be created and released to slander the other person. And right now, there's not even laws against these deep fake videos. There's some existing laws you might apply to them, but if they don't produce a deep fake video of their political opponents in future elections, I'll eat this hat right here. It's going to happen. The technology is there and you can't stop it, and you can't tell the difference. Absolutely terrifying. It's going to be a matter of faith. You're going to have to believe that that's your candidate and he wouldn't do it, or not. And now the good news is, in a court of law, these deepfake videos are pretty easy to figure out, because it's not a video is not any kind of proof unless you can prove where it came from, produce the device it was recorded on. So a lot of these videos that they're going to find in P. Diddy's house can be explained away. They can say it's fake video. This is contrived. This is never, and they can show you deep fake videos where they're so believable that you can't tell the difference. So it's a great way to muddy the waters. It's going to cause a ton of confusion. We've gone from the concept of the camera don't lie to the concept of even cameras lie nowadays. So tell me what you think in the comments section. Did Diddy do it? Did he do it? I think the answer to that is very clear. We've got multiple whistleblowers, multiple people in his circle telling you that he was involved in this. Will the blackmail material that he holds protect him? Does he have political people? Does he have something on T.D. Jakes? Does he have something on Tyler Perry? Does he have something on I forgot his name. Ashton Kutcher? Does he have stuff on people like Kevin Hart? Does he have stuff on Will Smith and people like that? And but Justin Bieber basically he totally came out and said this was done to him by P. Diddy in a recent video. And I think you're going to be having more and more of these celebrities blowing the whistle on P. Diddy. It's like rats off a sinking ship. P. Diddy is quoted as saying, "I'm not going down alone. If you take me down, I'm taking you with me." Several people in the hip-hop world are saying that P. Diddy ought to be looking over his shoulder, because there's people that were at those parties that would like to kill him, that would like to do him in. And so not only does he have to worry about life in prison, he's got to worry about, and not only worrying about losing his fortune, he's got to worry about his own neck, because there are people in the hip-hop industry that would like to silence him. And Jay-Z is at the top of the list, apparently. That Jay-Z is very afraid of what's going to come out of these P. Diddy investigations. So tell me what you think. Can you believe anything you see on video nowadays? And are we looking at a future where deep fake videos are made and broadcast just like smear campaign commercials of the past? That they'll just make a video up and say your candidate did it to try to discredit them? And will there be laws established to prevent that? And how do you prove it? I don't know. I find the whole thing interesting. I don't know what these people are up to, but I will tell you this. Jesus was right. The love of money is the root of all evil. That it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to make it to heaven. That money corrupts. And when pastors become rich and they stop driving 10-year-old cars and living in small houses and move into mansions, drive Rolls Royces, and wear $10,000 suits, that's a symptom that your pastor has become corrupted by the love of money and therefore has given in to evil. The very fact that they accept the money makes them a tool for the enemy. Sorry, TV preachers. All y'all are kind of screwed. Screwed, glued, tattooed. You are. And, you have given up your right to righteousness by accepting that level of wealth. As for me, I will continue living in a cabin in the woods and only accepting enough money to barely get by. If you'd like to support this channel so I have enough money to barely get by, because it's touch and go, from day to day, please see the links in the description to PayPal, Patreon, and Patreon's not there. You have to find Patreon. PayPal, Cash App, my P.O. Box. And we'll see you next time on Coffee Talk. Did he do it?